Hey everybody, and welcome to the Little Joe Show. And today, as promised, I want to start by talking about the diddly bow, and then we'll go inside and talk about the Lapsteel. And I'm sorry about the barking dogs. For some reason, they just won't shut up. All right. Now, the diddly bow is an instrument that originated in West Africa, and it became popular in the American South during slavery times. Okay? So, it was considered a children's toy, or it could also be the way a lot of old blues guitarists got started with slides. So basically what you have is a bottle of some kind between some nails, a bottle or a can, and then a string or a wire going up to another nail. And sometimes they would take it and put it on the side of a house, like that, in which case they would nail the stuff directly to the house, or like I have, on a piece of board. And all you do is take a slide, and I've got one of my glass slides because that's probably what was used, that or a old piece of pipe or something like that, and you slide it up and down this string to change the tone. If you want to hear what it sounds like, I don't think we're going to get it with the dogs out here, but I have another video that I made earlier this week that's out on YouTube, and you can see it there. All right, folks, let's go inside and talk about the Lapsteel. All right, guys, and here we are. We're going to talk about Lapsteel. We just talked about the diddly bow, which in my mind is a little bit of a precursor to the Lapsteel, not much of one. And we went through the history of that here just a minute ago, but let's talk about Lapsteel in blues. It's kind of easy in blues because if you're already a slide guitarist and you just want to transfer over what you're already doing, that's no big deal. It's easy to do. Because we're in the same tuning. We're in open E here, which is the same as open D, but it's up a step, and it's E, B, E, G sharp, B, E. And you can move it up. So E is at the first fret, or E is open. F is going to be at the first fret. G is going to be at the third fret. A, 5th fret. B, 7th. C, 8th. D, 10th. And then we're back to E again at the 12th. And it goes up from there. The other thing I like about a Lapsteel versus playing slide guitars, I got much better reach. I mean, I can get way up here. I can get 12, 15, 17, 19, 21. At 24, I can... Which, that was terrible, but you get the idea. You can really get up there. Somebody thinner than me would have much more success with that. But anyway, that's one of the things I really like about it. Let's go ahead and listen to a little demonstration, which I recorded in A, okay? Then we'll come back and look at some licks. right, guys, we've talked about the tuning. This is going to be the first string here. That's the 6th string. We're going to do this in the key of E, which is the open tuning I have this tuned in. Again, it's E, B, E, G sharp, B, E. All right, right there. And you'll notice that I have a cleaner tone right now than I did for the example that I played you. And the example was in the key of A. So if you want to take that video, back it up, move it forward, rip some of the licks, those are all in A, okay? Now, one thing I want you to realize is any of these licks can be moved over to your slide guitar. But one of the things I really like about this is you have access to the whole fingerboard. It's not a fingerboard, but you got access to the whole thing. One of the things I don't like is I do a lot of behind the slide playing, and I can't do that on this. So when I'm going to use one of these on a gig, I have to really take a week or so and just really practice it. So this first lick is a very traditional, basic lick that we're going to talk about. It's a basic slide guitar lick. Oh, and just by the way, if you're wondering, this is a Gretsch guitar. This is a Gretsch Lapsteel. Let's see if I can see the name. It's an Electromatic, okay? I really like it. It's got this nice pickup back here that sounds really good. This cover's nice for my hand. I can lean my hand on it. And it's got tone and volume, of course. So, not a lot of sounds, but I use, to get the sounds in this video, I'm using a Tonex. And the one I used in the example was what I call Dwayne A. It's a tone I came up with to kind of emulate his sound. I don't think it really does well at that, but I really like the tone. And this is supposed to be emulating a 65 Fender Deluxe. Okay, and like I said, this all comes from the Tonex, which I use the Tonex almost exclusively for recording and making videos. Once in a while when I get a gig with a band, it's nice to have to go direct in so I don't have to drag along an amp if that's how they do it, if they use in-ear monitors. If not, I have a Quilter amp that's really light and I take that. All right, first lick. Man, you ought to recognize that lick right off. That lick I actually got from listening to Elmore James, because he would kind of let it ring out. And it has that nice old 50s and 60s kind of sound when you're just... All right. Now, all we're doing, we're going to the 2nd string at the 12th fret, bringing it back to the 10th fret. And then we're going to come back up on the 3rd string, all right, at the 12th fret. We're going to hit the 4th string at the 12th fret. All right, so that's the first lick. Now, that's a really simple lick. Like I said, you probably already know it on your slide guitar, but it's nice to get started with something you know. In fact, one thing I'll tell you is, listen to these other guys, you know, like that. I mean, that's Blind Willie Johnson. You can do it on the Lapsteel, you know. And incidentally, that's what we're going to talk about this week for part 2 of this lesson that's going to be exclusively over on Patreon, where also all the tabs are. So, like I said, 1st string, 6th string. All right, that was the first lick. Here goes the 2nd lick. And this one is a more Lapsteel-centric lick, but I really like it in a slow blues or even in a country tune. All right, now you can see I've got something I'm not necessarily good at because I'm not a great Lapsteel player. There are some guys out there that just play the living daylights out of this instrument. It's very chordal. I'll do it again. Well, that's called a slant. I can do the backward slants like that one. The forward slants I haven't got down yet, guys. I'll just be honest, and that's where you put your bar like that. So what am I doing? I'm going to be on strings 5 and 3. Then strings 4 and 2, then strings 3 and 1. All right, and I'm going to let it ring. Then I'm going to go back on strings 3 and 1 at the 10th fret, and then I'm going to just slide down to that slant where I've got the front of the bar over the 9th fret on the 1st string and over the 8th fret on the third string. So, and sometimes what I'll do, I don't know if you saw that, I'll take my first finger and lay it on the second string while I'm making that move. Just kind of point at it. Just so it doesn't ring out. But like I said, I like that. All right, that's a very Lapsteel-ish sound, but it works well when you're moving from E to A. Because this, right here, is an A chord, right? But with the slide across the first string at 9 and the third string at 8, that's actually an A. It's kind of a double stop in a way. Now, the next one I'm going to have to do a little slower because I can pull this off if I'm with a band playing fast, but it's a little different. And it's going to be a turnaround, so it's based on... All right, so what we're going to do, I'll play it first. All right, so what are we doing there? We're going to go to the 12th fret, and we're going to be on strings 2 and 3. We're going to go down to 12, 11, 10. It's 2 and 3. I like to just pluck at 11 and then drag it down to 10 because it gives it that nice sound. Then we're going to go 10, 9, 8. Same strings. Now, what are we doing there? This is a B6th to a B7th. Well, now we're going to do A6 to A7. All right, and don't be scared of the 6th and 7th and all that stuff. It's just that's where that stuff fits in. Now, then we're going to have this lick. All right, it sounds harder than it is because with the bar, you're going to have a lot of the notes right at the 12th fret. So, 3rd, 2nd, 1st string. So you're going to let it ring out. 2nd string, 12, 10. 3rd string, 12. 4th string, 12. 5th string, 12. 10 on the 4th string. 12 on the 4th string. 12 on the 3rd. 13 on the 3rd. 12 on the 3rd. 12 on the 4th. Right? So. Alright, and then we're going to do 8th fret on the 6th, 4th, 3rd, and 2nd. And then just slide it down to the 7th fret to get the B. Okay, so. Alright, now that's it. Those are the licks, guys. So listen, if you have any questions, hit me up. I'm happy to answer them. And like I said, I'm going to have a lesson on playing some Blind Willie Johnson licks on this thing right here, the Lapsteel, and that's going to be an exclusive on Patreon. Membership over there's $1. If you like this and you want the tabs and you don't want to have to join and pay $1 a month, you can go in and buy the lesson in my shop. I also wanted to mention in my shop I have my slide guitar book that I've written. That's available in there for purchase. All right, enough sales talk, guys. If you like this video and find it useful, please like and follow. And I'll see you next time for more of The Little Joe Show.